Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hello.
Hola. Hi. Hola. Buenas noches, Mexico. Hello, everyone. Good evening or good morning, depending where you are. Before I take the enormous pleasure of speaking with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I would like to express my gratitude for joining us on this very special occasion. Words can't express my excitement for tonight. Your Holiness, good morning in India. Good evening here in America.
Right.
I feel very, very honored and grateful to be speaking with you today. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Thank you very, very much.
Perhaps because of time differences. Now here, here, I'm very fresh morning. So you,
I know,
Mexican, there, late evening.
Exactly.
So I think.
Well.
So you see, your brain now already begin feel sleep. I'm very fresh, so I have some.
I know.
I have some advantage.
I know. And by the way, Your Holiness, I've heard that you wake up really early in the morning.
Oh.
So what does a day in the life of the Dalai Lama look like?
Nothing special. Nothing special. I personally, I always feel the one Buddhist monk, the Dalai Lama and some other, it's just the other people, you see, described like that. I myself, I'm just simple Buddhist monk.
You're very humble, Your Holiness.
And then I study Buddhist philosophy. Then, according to Pali tradition, you see, we practice Vinaya, the monks' discipline, these things. Then, on top of that, the Nalanda tradition, not only now, the Sanskrit tradition. Pali tradition is mainly, relying Buddha's own word. Then, Nalanda tradition, as Buddha himself, told us, you should not follow my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. Buddha himself, told. So therefore, the later Nalanda institution developed. Then, they mainly follow the Sanskrit tradition. So we, since 8th century, Tibetan emperor, Tibetan king, invited one top master of Nalanda, his name Shantarakshita. So it is quite significant. At that time, the China is already Buddhist country. The Chinese emperor very much devoted about Buddhism. Number of Chinese Buddhist monk also you see in Tibet already. But then he prefer the Buddhism should be the Nalanda tradition. So at that time, the top master of Nalanda, one of the top master was Shantarakshita. He came to Tibet. He introduced Buddha Dharma according to Nalanda Sanskrit tradition. He himself, great logician, he wrote text about logic, about philosophy. So therefore, you see, we Tibetan, since then, we follow the Nalanda tradition. So we extensively use logical approach, always reasoning. So even Buddha's own word, through analyze, through reasoning, through logical approach, if there is some difficult to accept, then we have right to reject Buddha's own word.
Really?
Yes.
So there's a way to it's not like something that you should follow. You can kind of mold it. You can mold it, change it.
Yes, they like already.
That's amazing.
Nagarjuna of Nalanda master and Chandakirti, all these great master of Nalanda, you see, they investigate Buddha's own word, then they make distinction. This Buddha's teaching we can accept literally. This Buddha's teaching we cannot accept because it contradicts problem. Therefore, you see, we already, according to Nalanda tradition, we already make distinction. Some Buddha's teaching, word, we can accept. Some Buddha's teaching we cannot accept. So now Tibetan tradition and Nalanda tradition. So we extensively use reasoning, logical approach. So therefore, now according to my own experience, since, you see, very young age, 6-7 year old, already started to learn those important texts wrote by Nalanda master. So
it's evolving. I mean, you're making this. Buddhism is evolving every day.
What?
It's.
So some important text, root text, we learned by heart. So since childhood, we already learned by heart. So therefore, these days also, you see, some text I recite like that. So we kept the Nalanda tradition, so we extensively use reasoning, logical approach. So therefore, say, now since last now almost, I think 40, 50 years, I have sort of serious discussion with modern scientist. Since we always investigate, not faith, not belief, so therefore we can discuss with modern scientists. And modern science, the external thing, their knowledge very good, still they research carry. But about inner world, about mind, about emotion, the modern science, you see, they never pay attention, they do not know. So now last few decades, I have serious discussion with modern scientists about our inner, I usually call our inner world. Modern education very much pay attention about external world, not internal world, mainly mind, emotion. So
exactly.
So you see, many scientists now really appreciate the Nalanda tradition about psychology, about logical approach. So therefore, you see, we both, to scientists, about emotion, about mind, and how to develop inner peace. So I usually see describing the hygiene of physical, hygiene of mind or emotion. So now today's world really need hygiene of emotion, because a lot of problem because of emotion. So in order to deal with emotion, you should have fuller knowledge about the whole system of emotion. Emotion is part of mind. So now here, the mind, the five senses of organs, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, like that. But emotion comes with sixth mind. So
now,
regarding sixth mind, the modern scientists have very little knowledge. Now gradually, pay attention, now gradually their knowledge now increasing. Otherwise, you see, very limited. So therefore, we can, we can discuss about sixth mind, and with that sixth mind, not important eye consciousness, ear consciousness, but brain. This side or front side brain, mainly related with eye consciousness, seeing, hearing, smelling, like that. Then they here, this part of brain, usually most of emotion related with this part of brain. And similarly, the wisdom, Buddhists call kasa, vipassana, or shamatha, single-pointed mind as a shamatha call, then vipassana, analytical meditation. All these, you see, carry work this side of brain. And then we also usually make distinction. The sixth mind, grosser level, more subtle level during dream time, more subtle level of sixth mind experience. So at, during, sorry, at such sort of level, you see, there is possibility, you see, to remember past life, and also sometimes, you see, can feel what things are going to be, or future. That's
Future.
not grosser level of mind, more subtle level of mind. And then most subtle level of mind is at the time of death. So now there are cases, people, even you see, few weeks after death, brain stop, but still body remain very fresh. So that shows subtle, innermost subtle mind consciousness still in the body.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Now,
few days or few weeks, like my senior tutor, 18 days remain on that level. And recently some monk in Taiwan,
13 days.
oh yes, sorry, it's my teacher, 13 days. Then recently, one monk who stay in Taiwan, 可是的，你吗？
26.
可是啥？
26 days.
About 26 days remain the subtle level of mind. See, medically already dead. The heartbeat no longer. So blood circulation to brain no longer. So clinically dead, but body remain very fresh.
how do you achieve that? Through meditation?
Oh, through meditation, yes. Through meditation.
And I've heard that you wake up at 3:30 every day in the morning to meditate. Is that true?
Yes, a part of my meditation, you see, the breathing control. But my main meditation is analytical meditation about ultimate reality, according Nagarjuna and Chandakirti is in their way of thinking, their way of reasoning. I always remember, I always think, very useful. Then with that, you see, firstly, I try to find where is I, self. This is my body. And with this body, my voice. Then with this brain, my mind. So where is I? What do you think? Where is I? We can say this is my body, my voice, my mind. But where is I?
Here?
The Nagarjuna.
Where's I? You tell me, Your Holiness.
You can't find. Just a mere designation. Otherwise, no independent independent sort of entity like body. So,
well, that's one of my questions, Your Holiness. I've noticed that nowadays there's a lot of people worried about how they look more than anything else. They exercise, they diet, they try to stay in good physical health or fit. But what about the mind and the soul? There seems to be more cases of depression and anxiety, and numbers are rising every day. So social media gives us the illusion that we are all connected all across the world, but in reality, we have become not only disconnected from each other, but divided as well. We watch movies or visit digital platforms to escape our reality for a while, but we end up enslaved to it. We are addicted to our cell phones, computers, TV, tablets, and that kind of modern slavery makes us feel depressed. So my question is, how can we take care of our mental and emotional health for a happier state of mind? I mean, how can we take our soul to the gym?
Now, that is very important. Now, up to now, materialistic world not sort of touching about mind or sixth mind. So all the emotion, you see, is related with sixth mind. So emotion, you see, creates a lot of problem. And meantime, the antidote of destructive emotion also must develop within emotion. Now, such as anger, fear, these are part of our emotion. Then antidote of these destructive emotion is compassion and deeper understanding, like that. So now, according to quantum physics, you see, they already make distinction, appearance and reality. So most of the destructive emotion based on appearances. So now some student who study quantum physics, you see, they some kind of feeling. The ones who study quantum physics and more sort of convincing that, and then grasping on the basis of object reduce less. So this is exactly the ancient Indian psychological. Already, you see, mentioned that all the destructive emotion based on appearances, all the constructive emotion is based on reason, such as compassion, altruism, based on reason. So we can reasoning. Therefore, we can meditate and increase through meditation. We can increase anger, not based on the reality, just appearances. So anger, such emotion, no proper base, just on the level of appearances, like that. So this is exactly the ancient Indian psychology mentioned that. Now today, firstly, modern education never pay much attention about mind. Now gradually some scientists pay more attention about our mind. So these days, I used to describe the physical health important, but more important is mental health.
Absolutely.
Mental health, calm, peaceful, and wise. Then physical also, the physical health also automatically improve. Mental level, too much fear, too much anger, then physical also eventually suffer.
Exactly.
Now, and then these, you see, knowledge, although come from some ancient Indian spiritual text, but the subject itself we should consider as an academic subject, not religious subject. As about mind.
Absolutely.
We are not talking about next life or these things. We simply, try to know about our emotion, like that. So now, modern education should include some education about mind, about emotion, and how to tackle emotion, without touching any religion, like that.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. And suppose I feel there's a lot of people that's not happy nowadays. So what is exactly happiness? Because I feel that we all have a false perception of happiness. We all look for happiness, and we feel that happiness will come from having food on the table that is reasonable, or a roof over our head, or something. We feel that happiness is buying a car or a yacht. But in order to buy those things, either food or a yacht, we need money. So in our head, the math is money equals happiness. But in order to make money, people do terrible things. There are white-collar criminals, corrupt politicians, crooked entrepreneurs, but we also have burglars, kidnappers, human traffickers, and other types of people who do horrific acts in order to make easy money. And then they justify their choices by saying that they do all this in order to support their families, that that's the only way to feed their kids or pay rent or buy them a house or a car. And then they believe that once they achieve all that, it will make them happy. So my question is, can these people ever find true happiness? And what is happiness? What is it? And how do we cultivate happiness?
I think happiness or the pleasure, or sensorial level, usually we concern the sensorial level, sort of some pleasure. But real pleasure, because of the pleasure, happiness related with peace of mind, calm mind, that very much related with mental level, not sensorial level. So mental level, calm. Then automatically fear, suspicion, these automatically reduce. So fear is the cause of unhappiness and doubt.
Exactly.
Like that. And self-centered I, that also causing more problem. So altruism, think other. As now some scientists, even scientists say, we are social animal. Any social animal, biologically, a sense of concern of the community, like animal. Any social animal is some kind of sense of concern of the community. So we are social animal right from the beginning, from birth. You see, our life depends on mother's care. Then the child with mother and family member, and the childhood at a young age, the children don't care about others' religious belief or different nationality or rich or poor. So long, play together, smiling. Then children, always happy. So there is sense of community there, basic level. Eventually we join education. Then we make distinction, different religion, different nationality, different color, also the different family, rich, poor, all these. Now, gradually, you see, we created these things. That's the basis of very much sort of also the concept of we and they. At a young age, play together. You see, so long, you see, smile each other, play, you see, occasionally, children sometimes to say, or say, kaza, scratch. Otherwise, it's very simple. So, at that time, I think they're very much alive, the very nature of social animal. Now think that we actually, the community, firstly, on a small family, then your neighbor. So now, the today's reality, whole world, Easterner, Westerner, Northerner, Southerner, we are part of that big human family. So now we should develop sense of sort of oneness of 7 billion human beings. You see, that automatically reduce fear. We are human brothers, sisters, same. So I always was telling people, we are same human being. As I mentioned earlier, to children, they don't care what nationality, what color, like that. So therefore, that sort of oneness of human being, that we must preserve, and through education must sort of develop. So my number one commitment is I'm trying to develop sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. I myself, with that belief, wherever I go, whether I meet some European, some Asian, some African, I have the deep sort of sense we are same human brothers, sisters. Then mentally, no barrier. If I too much sort of emphasis, I'm Asian, I'm Tibetan, and then religiously I'm Buddhist, then you yourself, you see, make distinction and some kind of barrier. So now today, we really need a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. My future depends on them.
Absolutely.
Humanity happy, I will get maximum benefit. If others suffer, now today, there are a lot of also the conflict.
And now that you were talking about kids, that they don't make any distinction, I think that we lose something when we grow up. Why we start dividing us between races and color of our skin. Why kids not? What do we lose when we grow up?
Our education system. In education, as I mentioned earlier, at a young age, they don't care. Once join education, then you see the less emphasis, basic oneness of human being. Not much talk. Rather, my nation, my religion, my community, that creates problem. So now education have very, very important role. Now today's education very much sort of, as a day, very much concerned about material external thing. Now in education we should include education about our mind, about our emotion. Then, you see, in order to have more calm mind, altruism is very important. And biologically, we are a social animal, so altruism is very, very key factor. And in fact, I think the whole world, including animals or birds, their existence very much based on taking care, altruism.
Yeah, and now that you were talking about being one all together, it's not just people, but also the animals that live in this planet, right?
So I think in education we should include, usually I mention the peace of mind is hygiene of emotion, that should include, we should take care as much as taking care about hygiene of physical. Now similarly, hygiene of emotion, I think very important. So now education, existing modern education, I think just material value, these things should include about inner mind, inner world, peace of mind, like that. So education,
education.
The present education is half taking care about this body.
I hear you. Your Holiness, I would like to talk about laughter and humor. I'm a comedian, so I would like to talk about humor because I see that you are a very joyful leader, despite all the horrors that you see in the world every day. Many of our world's political and business leaders hardly smile. Maybe they fear not being taken seriously, but you're a leader who dares to smile, a leader who makes jokes and laughs all the time. You're tickling people, and however, people still respect you. So my question is, what's your secret, and why is humor so important to you?
Firstly, I have firm belief oneness of 7 billion human beings, all human brothers, sisters. And basically, we all have the emotional level, some positive thing, some negative thing. Through knowledge, this destructive emotion firstly destroy peace of mind and friendship. And the whole family, some suspicion, some jealousy, then happy family, even one happy family at the beginning, very happy, but eventually some jealousy, some sort of distrust, and then gradually become difficult family. So all these not depend on material value, but rather mental level. So main because of the emotion thing is altruistic compassion. So long compassionate mind there, then you feel complete free. If you have some sort of less or the sense of concern of others' well-being, always think yourself And then sometimes artificial smile, and then many artificial things have come. That instead of create sort of trust, but more doubt, more suspicion. So I think we should have more knowledge about our mind, a whole system of our mind and emotion. So our life, if we carry our life according basic human nature, more compassionate, then much better. When we with our mother, you see, very sincere. You see, no sort of fear. And actually, we survived with mother's milk, like that. Then gradually, you see, we become, in a way, clever, more clever. That brings more artificial life. Smile, laughing, sincere laughing, very good. Sincere smile, very good. Artificial smile, sometimes you see a sarcastic smile.
Exactly.
Sometimes artificial smile. Some diplomatic officials, a lot of smile, but too much. That category of diplomatic smile.
But I think one of the secrets of happiness is laughing and smiling. I can see that you are very, very joyful. You're like a kid, no matter your age. You're always behaving like a kid, and I think that's part of. When I was young, I was at school. Everyone was telling me, "You stop playing. You're like a kid." And now that I'm old, basically, I don't want to lose that inner kid that I have, because I think that's the only thing that keeps me alive and keeps me happy. So, and I feel that you're much like that. I feel that you are still a kid. And you like to tickle everyone. You like to make jokes. You're very down to earth. So, and I think that's part of the secret of happiness too.
So, ultimately, altruistic attitude. Not only we human beings, but also other animals. If you keep more altruistic attitude, and even animal, automatically, day by day, then they also show us trust. Some dogs, when you give something to eat, with smile, with sincerity attitude, they appreciate very much.
Absolutely.
Other hand, you give some food, animal, but without a smile, some threatening, then you see no way to develop trust. So altruistic attitude brings trust. Trust brings peace. So now,
but Your Holiness, I do a lot of altruistic work with animals, especially, but I face that a lot of people attacks us, the people who like to help animals, because they say that we should be doing other things. They consider that animals are not part of the, they don't deserve to be treated as the same as humans. And we're constantly attacked. And I see a lot of, for example, I see a lot of hatred everywhere around the world, but especially on social media. In today's society, people get easily offended by everything. And because of that, everyone is afraid of either helping an animal or in my case, that I'm a comedian, we're afraid of making a joke because we can be crucified. So I feel that people are laughing less. I truly feel that the world is losing its sense of humor. So my question is, with so much pain in the world and all the negativity on the news each day, how can we maintain a sense of humor?
Everything, all human activities which come out, what's the altruistic, then everything very positive, like smile, laughing, out of altruistic, then it shows very sincere, very good. Other hand, some suspicion, some sort of, what say, the cleverness. With that smile, laughing, these, instead of bring more sort of happiness or satisfy, but create more suspicion, doubt. So then, even smile or some jokes with negative emotion, then always you see create problem. So now today, I think world, we really need we really need sense of oneness of human being. We have to live together. Easterner need Westerner. Similarly, so that not through teaching, not through as religious sort of teaching, but through education. Existing education system today, I think something lacking. The whole whole nation, you see, the education everywhere considered very important. Now then, you see, that education provide human being more wrong concept and narrow-minded. So therefore, now I feel education, modern education, have the certain things lacking. Now, in education, we should include about mind or these things. Now, look, in India, over 3,000 years, already, you see, develop the concept of non-violence, concept of compassion. This Sanskrit or the Indian language, karuna. Sanskrit, I think, karuna, compassion. Ahimsa, kasa.
Non-violence.
Ka.
Non-violence.
Kasa. Sanskrit kasa.
Ahimsa.
Ahimsa. These two words, ahimsa, non-violence, then karuna, compassion. These two words in this country, almost 3,000 years, you see, already sort of also familiar, these two words, compassion and non-violence.
Now, Your Holiness, during this pandemic, I want to talk about the pandemic. Millions of people, especially the elderly and the poor, have experienced great suffering. But I strongly believe that all this is happening for a reason, so we can learn a lesson. What do you think is the lesson behind all this? And how can we emerge stronger and happier after this is over?
단단 내용되기 굉장히 미묘되기는 거 밀세니 이슈신이야.
This present also kasa name kasa pandemic this illness very sad, but now the doctors and some scientists, they pay much attention. I very much appreciate. And nurses. So these, the present illness, you see, you have to treat that through scientific way, through medical way.
But what's the lesson behind all this? What's the lesson behind all this? The pandemic. What do you think is the lesson behind all this? Because I feel that we are going through this because there's a reason. We need to learn probably a lesson as humanity. What would be the lesson that COVID is giving us?
I don't know. Difficult to say. But
let me tell you what kind of I think. Sure. I feel that now that we are in our houses, that we're not outside, we're able to know us and our family better because we are here locked down. So for some reason, now that I'm not in contact every single day with the world, I can see what my family really is, which kind of family I built, which kind of life I built. I can face my own relationships and myself better now that I'm locked into my house. Is that part of the lesson that the universe is giving us with all this?
This illness you know, the human life since there is a beginning. So then evolution, through evolution, you see, this sort of this type of physical and brain also come from evolution, not one day, 1 year develop, but all these through centuries, through 1,000 years, billion years, gradually you see change. So now, there may be a modern time we use too much chemical. That also may be some connection. You see these new, what's it? Virus. That also some connection, maybe. So we, now for example, the food, vegetarianism, very good. Even vegetarian, you see, in order to develop vegetable more quickly, more big size, use some chemical. Then similarly, the meat, beef farm, and poultry. You see, in their food, some chemicals.
Yeah.
So these, I think, some connection. The new virus, that brings this new illness. So now this present illness may have some connection. Last few centuries, we too much utilize chemicals, I feel. So,
Yeah. Are you vegetarian, Your Holiness? Are you vegetarian?
no. 1954, I decide be vegetarian. Then next about 20 months, pure vegetarian, no egg, no fish.
1964.
But then I developed the gallbladder. Then finally, through surgery, and my gallbladder removed. At that time, the allopathic sort of physician, Tibetan physician, both, you see, have the view, I should now better to return the original style.
Diet.
So Tibetan, most of Tibetan and cold climate, not non-vegetarian. So like that, but in India, hot climate add a lot of vegetable, fruit. So I suggested to a big monastic institution, about 10,000 monk students. Their common kitchen, vegetarian, no non-vegetarian food. So similarly, some education, some college, some university also, you see, doing that. So, and here my own, also the entourage here, usually serving vegetarian food, like that.
Okay. Now that we're talking about you, I'm going to make you a question, a very, very strange question, but I'm really interested and curious about it. You are a human being full of love. The Dalai Lama is a symbol of love around the world. I think of Dalai Lama and I think of love. However, you're not allowed to fall in love. Have you ever fallen in love? Or aren't you curious about it? Have you felt curiosity about experiencing the act of love? And I'm not talking about carnal desires. I'm talking about the feeling of enlightenment in your soul.
You see, in the meaning of love, some very much mixed with attachment, such as sexual love, very much mixed with attachment. Then the best love is loving kindness towards your enemy. Enemy consider best teacher of your practice of loving kindness. So these are true unbiased sort of loving kindness. So usually you see people, you have some anger or uncomfortable. Then towards that person, you especially try to develop loving kindness towards that person. Then gradually, you see, you develop genuine altruistic attitude. Now that is without attachment. That's genuine kindness, genuine altruism. Now, for example, some of Chinese officials in Tibet, you see, ruthlessly suppressing. So, some occasion, I visualize some of these officials and take their fear, their anger, their hatred, and give them altruism, patience to them. Mentally, very, very helpful to keep peace of mind, myself. So therefore, the enemy who creates trouble for you is best teacher.
But tell me, but I want you to ask me, have you ever fallen in love in your life?
Oh. Oh yes. Sometimes beautiful women. So I feel, oh, beautiful. But then immediately I'm monk. So then you see
you can watch in Mexico. We say you can watch the menu, but you can't eat.
Kasa. Oh, so and the beautiful women. You see, sometimes I sort of mention when I met some Western monk, a nun. So, you see, through sexual love, then gradually produce children. Before children, a kind of worry, I want child. Then, you see, one child, two children, three children, too much.
Exactly.
So always is a problem. Problem. So,
I know.
And then, produce more children. Then you should automatically develop concern of their education, their own marriage. Then children, grandchildren, grandchildren.
I know.
When
a lot of problems.
When I saw that, the wee monk, just one single person, you see.
Exactly.
Taking care of myself, no more. So.
But you feel have you ever felt curiosity about how's a relationship?
So the distinction, the altruism or sense of closeness feeling with attachment, especially sexual attachment, and closeness feeling without attachment. Now, altruism or closeness feeling with sexual attachment is long run the creator of more problem. So you see, altruism, as I mentioned earlier, best thing is altruism towards your enemy. It's the genuine, genuine compassion. Very good.
Absolutely. I do believe that too. I have questions that people send me over. And the first one is, do we all have a predetermined destiny, or is our destiny determined by our choices and actions?
Now, I have now 4 commitments. Number 1 commitment, I am human being. I am one of the 7 billion human beings. On that level, my commitment is try to share other people. We need altruism. Since we are social animal, that's my number one commitment. Number two commitment, I'm Buddhist monk. Promotion of religious harmony. All major world religious tradition, you see, despite, in spite sort of different philosophy, different sort of culture, all carry same message of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance. All major religious tradition, whether the theistic religion or non-theistic religion, in spite of different philosophy, all carry same message of love. So,
but I want to ask you again this question. I think you didn't get it 100%. I want to ask you, do we all have a predetermined destiny, or is our destiny determined by our choices and actions?
Now that more, complicated.
Yeah, I mean, do we have a destiny that destiny says that you need to die and crash in an accident, whatever, or it's because you choose a certain lifestyle that leads you towards that destiny? You know what I mean?
According now, theistic religion, our life created by God. So there is some kind of predestination, right?
No, predestination.
According to, God's wish. Then non-theistic religion, such as Jainism, Buddhism, no creator. But then we, according now Indian, since there is no creator, God as a creator, so our life limitless, beginningless. So according Hindu sort of belief, Atma, beside this body, there is subtle I, self, that no beginning. Billions of years, that goes like that. So now, with that, you see the concept of karma. Each life, your action creates certain karmic, also the imprint. So that affects the next life. So this is more complicated, like that.
Okay.
So basically, we have no certain particular designation, right?
Destination.
No.
Destination.
So everything depends on ourselves.
Okay.
Even at the beginning of our life, you see the family life difficult, but gradually your own hard work and creates more friends. And then eventually, you see, your whole family become much better, wealthier, like that. So these we call karma means action. Everything, you see, depends on your own action. Suppose for that education, consider very important for carry positive, constructive action. Now, so far, as I already mentioned, the education only materialistic oriented. That's not sufficient. Now, education should include education about our inner world, our mind. Then your materialistic sort of education also now become more constructive, like that. Now, today's world, a lot of problem is actually human beings, our own creation. Yet, no human being want problem. Yet, there's a lot of problem, our own creation. So now that lack of knowledge and you see destructive emotion become much sort of influential, like that. So now education, not talking about next life or heaven or these things, simply, you see, in order to develop more peaceful, more, more peaceful, happy life, for that altruistic education, very important, like that.
Okay. Your Holiness, we're running out of time, so could you please say a prayer for all the healthcare professionals, the sick, the poor, and the elderly people who are suffering so much during the pandemic?
Yes, every morning I at least 10-15 minutes, especially, you see, meditate or pray. You see, at present, you see this illness. But prayer, the effect from prayer, I think, limited. More important is our action. So as I mentioned earlier, you see, those concerned people who are taking care about our physical world, illness, or this illness, I very much appreciate. I just wish, you see, their work is continuously and successful.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Your Holiness. Thanks for talking with me, talking with all my audience. Thank you very, very much. And thanks for all your amazing life lessons. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome questions.
Thank you. Can I ask you one more question at least? I have one more question from the people, and it's, I find, pretty special. How can true forgiveness be granted? How can true forgiveness be granted?
Ultimately, if you really concern more about your own peace of mind, or your own happiness, which related with peace of mind, forgiveness is the best way, you see, to keep peace of mind. Constant anger and want to retaliate. Then even I take a daily life, too much anger, I think your sleep, some disturbances. Without anger, peace of mind, sound sleep.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Your Holiness. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then I didn't sort of mention number one commitment as a human being, number one commitment as a Buddhist monk, number three commitment regarding Tibet, I'm Tibetan. Tibetan people trust me. But political matter, I already retired. Now, political system, we practice democratic system. Sincerely, fully. So I have no political responsibility. Then, regarding Tibet, I very much concerned about environment about Tibet. Tibet, usually you see people call roof of the world. So they, all these major rivers which cover whole Asia come from Tibet. So preserve Tibetan ecology is very, very important. Ultimate source of water in Asia, Tibet, very important. One Chinese.
Now that you're talking about water and everything, we are seeing devastating results due to global warming. California, for example, at the moment is battling numerous fires across the state, and worldwide hurricanes and mass floods keep getting worse and worse. And scientists have presented us with the facts, and still many leaders refuse to acknowledge this issue. Why do you think some world leaders are ignoring global warming, and what can we do to combat this issue?
Now, the many ecologists, they mentioning global warming now century by century increasing. So due to that, these fire and some drying river. So now that's beyond our control. So we have to take care according to the climate change. Otherwise, now some expert, when I have some meeting, they say the global warming, next few decades, the rate, global warming, you see, increasing. Eventually, you see, Tibet may become like Afghanistan, this area, more desert, much less water. So now this is serious matter. We have to think. Now seems to see in Tibet, I think during one Chinese Prime Minister, now some time back, you see he give order some Tibetan area, a lot of forest. Now these forests should be should keep and less deforestation because of deforestation because of ecology. So that is something important. Then regarding Tibet, one my sort of concern and responsibility is the preservation of Tibetan knowledge. Our knowledge mainly come from India, Nalanda tradition, as I briefly mentioned. The Nalanda tradition, as I mentioned earlier, very scientific way of thinking. And then the Nalanda tradition, the language seems now, Tibetan language is the best language to describe about these detailed, subtle level of philosophy and a logical approach or mind. So I myself used to notice, you see, when we describe some very subtle philosophical views or mental sort of situation, Tibetan language is the best language because, you see, before Nalanda tradition come to Tibet, Tibetan language very primitive. While you see more and more people showing interest about this Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist logic, then since 7th century, Tibetan emperor already developed our own language, our own script. Therefore, 8th century, the Nalanda master, as I mentioned earlier, when he visited Tibet, he pointed out, you have your own language. So all those sort of the text in Sanskrit or Pali should translate into Tibetan. So now today, more complete sort of information, originally in Sanskrit or Pali, now available only in Tibetan language. The Chinese Buddhist country, before Buddhism reached Tibet, China already also the number of people who follow the Buddha Dharma. But you see, the Chinese tradition, more emphasis meditation. In Tibet case, we emphasize study. So therefore, the Nalanda knowledge, I think they're available only in Tibetan tradition. It is very useful. So that culture not only concerned for Tibetan, 6-7 million Tibetan, but also you see, at least you see, those Buddhist country, and especially China. Now China, over 400 millions Buddhist population, now China. Many young Chinese now showing interest. So the preservation of a Nalanda tradition is in whole Asia is very important. So Tibetan language very useful. So then my fourth responsibility is try to revival of ancient Indian knowledge. All our knowledge come from India. So these knowledge, as not as a religion, but academic subject, I want revival in this country. So India have the ability to combine modern education and ancient Indian knowledge, mainly non-violence and compassion. So these form my commitment.
Amazing.
Okay.
Can I ask one last question? Are you planning? I heard that you said that you probably might be the last Dalai Lama. Is that still in your plans, or are you planning to reincarnate? And if you do, will you do that in a woman probably, or that's not possible?
Already, Dalai Lama institution, since 5th Dalai Lama, then the political also the responsibility developed. Now that already, you see, I change. Now not only myself, you see, retired, but also in case future Dalai Lama still remain no longer political responsibility. I already decided. But then in any case, basically, future of Dalai Lama, you see, depend on Tibetan spiritual leaders, different leaders of different spiritual tradition, and including Himalayan range, and also you see Mongolia, very historically, the very name of Dalai Lama, you see Mongol word like that. So they naturally, they have the responsibility. So, and of my life, those who see people who have some special connection with the Dalai Lama, you see, they may decide, this is not my responsibility. My responsibility is till my last breathing remain, I should practice the Buddhicitta altruism and these analytical meditation and share with other people as much as I can. Then,
but now that the women around the world need to be more empowered, you think it would be a possibility to reincarnate in a woman instead of a man?
Kasa. Oh, that I think many years ago, in France, one French magazine about women. See, that correspondent came to see me and asked me, future Dalai Lama can be women? Then I told, in case Dalai Lama Institute should continue, then the question whether can be female Dalai Lama. Then I mentioned, sure, if the situation is such, more female Dalai Lama, more helpful, then naturally female. And actually now I have the feeling, see, most of historic, or say the leaders, warlord, or heroes, most of them male. So now, some occasion, I express the world political leader take by female, maybe less problem. So I really, you see, congratulate the Norway. Norway Prime Minister, female.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, they're fantastic.
so majority of the different countries' leader eventually take by female, maybe more stable world.
Yeah. The countries that are led by women are in a better shape than the other ones. That's a fact.
So therefore,
yeah, probably.
In case Dalai Lama Institute should continue, should preserve, then according to the circumstances, if female Dalai Lama more useful, then sure, female Dalai Lama.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Your Holiness. I want to, just before finishing, I would like to remember you went to Mexico years ago. I think it was 2013. I would like to show some slides of your visit to Mexico just to finish the interview. Thank you again very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Visit to Mexico. 我自己从不不对。
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank